Hello guys and welcome. It's been a while since the last update on Anaximander, and although real life and things happening outside YouTube have impacted my ability to create any new content for the simulation, I still managed to work a bit in the background and add a slew of new features. Features that I'm really excited to show you today. I'll preface this by saying that many of these features deserve a longer video on their own, but I'll try to keep this as short as possible. If you want any more in-depth videos about the systems that I'm going to present here today, please leave a comment below and I'll try to accommodate. And try to stick to the end, as I have a special announcement that I want to make. So, what's been going on in Anaximander? Well, I'm sure that from the images on the screen you can already tell a few of the changes that already happened, but I'm going to go through them one by one. And I'll start with the smaller changes and then go to the bigger features that have been added to the simulation. 1. I did a major metabolism and digestion overhaul. What changed is that now the bloodstream is an actual throughput gate. What do I mean by that? Previously, food was digested in the stomach, traveled to the bloodstream, and there were a few direct mechanics, let's call them. Whatever was needed to pay for metabolism was drawn for the blood, and if there was not enough in the blood, it was drawn directly from reserve. Reproduction also drew directly from reserve, not going through the bloodstream. All of that has changed now, and everything goes through the bloodstream, including reserve mobilization. The bloodstream now has a capacity. It had one before, but now the capacity is much more important. A second change is that carrion now has a much more robust life cycle. Carrion meat, and for that matter live prey meat as well, go through different stages of existence. They start off as fresh, then go through aging, and finally decayed. Each of the stages has different energy benefits. Fresh meat is the one that releases the most energy, with aging having considerable less resources, and decayed meat almost nothing is given back to the creature. Third change. The way smell works in the simulation has changed considerably. Now, smell is a field similar to how nutrients are a field. Creatures, plants, and carrion leave behind an emission of smell in their area. This smell diffuses slowly in the area around the creatures, or plants, or carrion. Creatures now have a virtual smell organ that they evolve. You can see it with a creature selected and with an overlay. The creatures sample a number of cells in their vicinity. There's a minimum and a maximum smell budget, with higher metabolic costs for the more advanced smell organs. The organs have a left-right symmetry that can be controlled by genes. Namely, a creature can evolve the distribution of the sampling cells and front to back as well. For instance, if we take a look at these two different genera of creatures, Philophagus longus has a smell sample budget of 50, which is the maximum. That means that it has 50 of these little cells that it can sample from. Promiscuous crudellis has only 37 of the smell sample budget. And you can tell that it has a powerful right-handed asymmetry for the way the shape of the smell sensing organ is. And while we are at the chapter of senses, another thing that changed is the fact that now field of view for creatures is evolvable. Looking at our two genera of creatures here, you can see that the polyphagus creature, if I can select one, has a much wider field of view than the promiscuous crudellis. And that is because of their very different strategies for surviving. But more on that in a bit. One other interesting change is the intervene mode that was added to the classical way of experiencing the simulation. Observe is the current default mode of the simulation, allowing us to observe the evolution of life and how it unfolds before our eyes, while intervene has a basic set of tools that allow us to do various things within the simulation. You can add a species, you can add plants, or you can add nutrients to the nutrient field. In the future, there will be more tools for the intervene simulation mode. A much smaller change is the fact that now we can go up to 8x speed in the simulation. Frames per second can suffer a bit depending on the population of the world and how clumped up the creatures are, but we try to keep a fixed ticks per second rate in order to move time as fast as possible. Now, moving into the more major simulation changes. We'll first start with observability. Observability has greatly increased with a slew of telemetry views. I realized that for anyone else trying to, maybe in the future, foreshadowing, want to try out the simulation, they would have a difficult time understanding what was going on. So I added telemetry. There are various data charts, various ways of showing the data. You can drill in on certain periods of time depending on the type of chart, if it is based on a time series or not. And you can see the evolution of the genes of creatures within the simulation. The second major feature that I added was speciation. We have various ways of seeing speciation, but first let me tell you what speciation is. This is mostly a taxonomic categorization of creatures. It's more of an observability tool, nothing else. Speciation is an interesting mode of seeing how species evolve, form up, cluster, and break apart over time. We have multiple ways of viewing speciation. We have I called it an evolutionary tree, but it's not a tree. It's something different. It's an evolutionary circle, an evolutionary planetary system, where we can see the path from the current selected species right up until the genus's founding species, in this case Philophagus pascens. Promiscuous vorax, and the promiscuous genus is a lot simpler in the number of species compared to Philophagus. The second way of viewing speciation is through the evolutionary flow. This one resembles more of a river or a geological record, if you will. You can select windows in which you want to view the species. The third way is by looking at the species browser. The species browser is made to show only living species, but you can expand it to see the extinct species as well. Each species has its own entry in the browser where you see details. There are things that you can do with species, like comparing them with other species or looking at their members. The second major feature I want to tell you about is brains. We now have evolvable brains in Anaximander. I won't go into details how this works right now. If you are interested, please tell me and I'll make a video about this or any other of the systems that I discussed here today. But basically, brains start out from a very simple configuration with only perception neurons connected to certain output neurons, enough to allow the creatures to find food, navigate towards it, and consume it. And after many rounds of evolution, they end up looking like this. The advantage being, of course, that evolution discovers the required complexity of a brain by itself and is not forced into using the whole brain capacity if it is not needed, as it was previously. And if we take a look at telemetry, we can see that over time there is a plateauing of the total number of connections that evolution tends to consider useful. Thirdly, I want to tell you about the last and probably the most impactful change I did to the simulation, at least from my point of view. And that is life cycle developmental stages. What does that mean? Creatures no longer spawn as full adults. Previously, every newborn creature was a clone of the adult with some genetic mutation thrown on top of that. Now, this is no longer the case. Well, the juveniles are still clones with genetic mutation thrown on top of that, but they no longer spawn at their full adult size. Lifespan now is separated by different stages. You can clearly see here juveniles and adults of Philophagus longus swimming around together. And the same for Promiscuous crudelis. With this came the need to change the pacing of the simulation, as the lifespans of the creatures has been greatly increased in order for each of the stages of its life to be meaningful. Lifespan is still... This guy is gonna be hunted down, isn't he? Oh, he escaped? No, he didn't. Come on, guys, stop killing my... Oh my god. Well, they're not called crudelis for nothing, right? So, as I was saying, each stage needed to be larger in time span for it to be meaningful. Creatures have a longer lifespan. For instance, the Philophagus longus has a estimated lifespan of 16.24 minutes, whereas the larger crudelis has an estimated lifespan of 23 minutes and 20 seconds. Lifespan scales differently with the metabolism of the creature, and metabolism scales with size, tissue density, and other stuff. These have been the major changes in Anaximander ever since I posted the last video 3 months ago. There are a slew of other smaller changes, and each of the big and small changes that I enumerated here could deserve a video of their own. As you can see, the UI has been slightly redesigned as well. And many of the things that were previously shown in the UI have been rethought, renamed, or even removed, with others added in order to try to surface more useful information for people that would try the simulation. And with that in mind, this leads me beautifully to the announcement that I promised I would be making. I am thinking of running a targeted play test of the simulation with people that might be interested in experiencing something like a 2D artificial life simulation. If you're interested in participating in something like this, feel free to leave a comment below and we'll get in touch with each other. I really think that now, after these changes, the simulation is in a good enough place and can produce interesting enough ecologies to allow other people to try it out. And I would like to get the feedback of others. The run that you are looking at is a good example of this. These creatures have been co-evolving for the past 7 days, more than 7 days. We have two different genres in this simulation. An omnivore genre that has turned into an aggressive predator, and a herbivore genus that has decided to be tiny and maneuverable as a response. There's a story here in this particular run that I will present in another video. A tale of a world that had lived for many generations in a certain type of equilibrium, and the creatures that lived in that world were adjusted for that particular kind of equilibrium. But then a stray mutation caused the whole ecology to switch to a ruthless, aggressive, fast-paced world. And the fact that Anaximander can now produce these kinds of stories, and that we have now more tools in the simulation for us to be able to look at things and reason about what is happening, more than just the Mark I eyeball, is, if you ask me, excellent. It's because of that reason that I want other people to try Anaximander and gather their feedback. Thank you for watching. Bye.